Hello, Amber here, doing a quick clue review for Thursday's mystery grape, which was Gruner Veltliner, particularly from the Wachau region of Austria and the Smaragd style. And admittedly, I don't know if I'm saying that right, so my apologies to any Austrians and those that know German. I went to the website Forvo, which I always like, forvo.com, and I guess it's more like Smaragd in the German way. Though there was a Hungarian speaker on Forvo that went Smaragd, and that clicks with my brain. So I'm going to kind of go with that. But here, anyways, let's do the clue review. And again, I was very, very particular to want to do this style of Gruner. Because if you ask, just a regular wine lover that knows, Gruner Veltliner off the street, what is Gruner? They're going to talk about citrusy, they're going to talk about zippy. If they know a little enough to be dangerous, they'll talk about white pepper, which is very, very true for a lot of the Gruners that you see. However, in the Wachau, there's a lot of kind of cool climate influences, when you think about it, which we'll go into a little bit, that produce a more powerful style. And particularly with their classifications, starting with the lighter Steinfelder, Federspiel in the middle, and then the more full-bodied, powerful, intense Smaragd, you can see some changes in the style. So I really wanted to make sure you guys were familiar with this style, which, could pop up on an exam. Never know. I know in particular the Somm community for the Quartermaster Sommeliers and their exams. They freaking love Gruner and particularly the Smaragd style. So let's hit our clue review here. So these were the clues that I gave you on Thursday in the IG story. Clue 1, grapefruit, so a tropical citrus. Clue 2, peach, a stone fruit. Clue 3, yellow cherry. And I know this probably surprised a lot of people because you're already thinking white wine with the first two clues. And yellow cherry can pop up in a white wine. For those that aren't familiar with yellow cherries, I'm a little biased, living in Washington State for a while, Rainier cherries. They get a little bit of kind of that yellow cherry family, which is a sweet cherry, so ripe, warm climate. I mentioned in the clue, think of this as the same as you think of a stone fruit. But they also have a little bit of a bitter edge to it. And so I was kind of deliberate in sneaking that in. I saw yellow cherry, I believe in Gildsam was one of their listing for Gruner, and that really popped for me. It's like, yes, that makes sense, because you got that ripe fruit and that little bitter edge, which is a theme with Gruner, some phenolic bitterness that comes to it. But yet it's kind of hidden with the fruit. So that's why I went with that for that clue 3. Clue 4 was another one that threw a few people for a loop. I did radish. And I wanted to give a shout out and credit for this for another light bulb moment for me with Gruner. Jeff Burrows has a great wine blog, Food Wine Click. When I load up this video there, I'll tag his IG on it. I did a blind tasting exercise with him, Noel, the Grape Grind, with Lifetime Vintage. And one of the wines in that was a Gruner Veltliner. And Jeff was noting about how, for him, Gruner often has a savory note to it and like a little savory spiciness. That radish clicks for him. And since he said that, I've been seeing it quite a bit pop out in Gruner. Other notes that you can kind of get for that little savory earthiness. Some people go wasabi on that. Lentils is also another option. But for me, radish really works. So you can try it, see if it works for you. Clue 5 was ginger. So another one, very deliberate with putting in this for the Smaragd style from the Wachau. So ginger is often a spice that you associate a lot with botrytis. And in this region, even though it is a pretty dry region, because they want to reach that high Smaragd level, the peak of ripeness for them, they're letting the vine hang longer. And longer into the season, you risk botrytis developing. So some of these Smaragds could have a smidge of botrytis. It's not to the degree that you think of like honeyed and going for sweet wines like we're in Alsace or Germany. But it's that start. That ginger's kind of that spicy start. And you can also even go a little bit into saffron. I know there are people that have had in their Gruner notes saffron. I haven't personally got that quite a bit, but it's something to, in the back of your mind. For me, spice and Gruner go hand in hand, so picking up ginger comes more naturally to me for that. And then clue number 6 was kind of my, red flag clue, but I always deliberately make clue 6, that because it's kind of hidden in the background. Everybody's focusing on the structure clue, but I had white pepper. And so for quite a few folks, that was the one that's like, aha, Gruner. But the thing to keep in mind with white pepper is retention, where it comes from, is in the skins. So for you to get white pepper into your Gruner, that means the producer had to give it some kind of skin contact. Now, this could happen, in the harvest bins. Particularly if they do machine harvesting, which in the Wachau they don't because of steep terraces. But you can think of in other areas with more flatter plains, machine harvesting, it starts to do that little skin contact maceration in the harvest bin. But more likely, especially with higher quality producers that are hand harvesting, it is deliberate skin contact before they press on it. And so with skin contact, though, you also get phenolics. And that ties back to that theme of Gruner, of having a little bit of that phenolic bitterness that you can get. And so in white wines, we don't think about phenolics at all. We're not thinking of tannins. But Gruner is a variety that you can get some of that. So particularly in the finish, kind of focus a bit on that. And then to our structure clues. Pale to medium lemon. In the Wachau, warmer climate, riper fruit, some skin contact, potentially some botrytis. We have some oxidizing agents happening there. And so that will deepen the color in a white wine on it. So you're more likely to get a little bit more towards a medium versus a pale, where if you go very anaerobic winemaking, avoiding oxygen at all costs, like you're thinking of your Pinot Grigios from Italy. Those are very, very pale, watery white. That's not seeing a dime of oxygen, as much as the winemaker could avoid it. Here, they're not doing that. So again, you could get a little bit of a deeper color. Medium plus intensity. So especially with that longer ripeness, those riper fruits, the complexity that you're getting from the spice notes and the earthy notes, it's adding to the intensity there. Some outstanding examples certainly could be pronounced, but medium plus is a good benchmark there. Dry. Medium plus to high acid. This is what a lot of people know Gruner for. It's got that zippiness to it. In his book, Beyond Flavor, Nick Jackson talks about it as a roller coaster effect. You kind of hit the high, then it goes down a little bit, but then high again. But you want to think acid with Gruner. Medium plus to full bodied. And this is talking about the Smaragd style. Obviously, like with the Steinfeder, the Fiederschmiel, they might be a little bit lighter in style, more medium bodied. But here, you can definitely get fuller bodied in this style, this ripe style, stone fruit, tropical citrus. Medium to high alcohol. You have to remember it has to be a minimum 12.5% to have the Smaragd designation. And it could potentially, in warm vintages, go over 14%. Quality level of this one, you're usually in that very good to outstanding level, and then definitely premium priced, because low quantities with that, and also production method on this is kind of expensive. And this, let's go in now to our little bit of our climate influences in there. When you think of the Wachau, and I highly recommend going to Google Earth. I love Google Earth. It's a narrow valley. The Danube is kind of cutting through the Bohemian Massif. And so it's a narrow, kind of stony, rocky valley. That's given us some good things. One, being a narrow valley, kind of can trap some heat in for us. You get the reflection from the river. And so also being narrow, more pointed. But also, and this is another thing that you can really see on Google Maps, and you start to zoom, or Google Earth, you start zooming in, and there's these stone terraces. Those are a pain in the butt to work, so that's what's adding to the cost. But think about what stone's doing. Stone is absorbing the heat and then radiating back, helping us get those riper flavors on it. And so there's a lot, they make Gruner all throughout Austria. A lot of great examples. And definitely try them. But get a chance, go to the Wachau, look for this riper style, and you'll notice it is different. You see the similarities of Gruner. It's still Gruner. You got a little bit of that white pepper. You do have some of the citrus, but that ripeness there is very, very distinctive. So that is it for my short little clue review. In a couple hours later today, when Noelle wakes up on the West Coast U.S., we will be doing another Instagram Live with a lot of the big exams coming up here on this week. We're kind of talking about what we did in the 48 hours, tomorrow 24 hours before a big exam, and also in hindsight what we kind of wish we did. So I hope you guys join us then. Take care.